Now let's get into conversation before we get into the how to plan your finances. Quick one on what's happening in Parliament because of a profession as an economist. The budgets, the finance minister failed to show up. Yes, finance minister failed to show up. We're getting into 2025. Government needs to pay workers January to March. What's the effect in 2025 January from the beginning?
Okay, so Kwame, let me give a very honest advice to the MPP.
Right.
You lost emphatically. Accept in good faith and regroup plan in 2025 going. Don't create a bad mess for yourself for 2028. Look, every subsequent election started in the previous election. So election 2028 started 7 December 2024. The optics are important.
Okay.
I'm a member of the NDC. Ghanaians queued and voted emphatically against you. If I were the MPP, you know what? I'll tone down their entrenched position. You've lost it. When NDC lost in 2016, Mahama, in a cool running level, handed over power. He never created a storemate. And you see, there is something about power. We have the soft skills and the hard skills aspect of the power. The soft skills are the diplomatic, unseen, inheritance people you do behind the scene. And people in politics look out for the optics. Look, His Excellency Dr. Momu Baromia, you saw how he came out early to concede defeat. He has created a public perception around him.
Yeah.
People now see him as a peacemaker. Whether he did that for grounds of strategy, an agenda setting, I leave that to future to judge. But the public perception on him now is that, oh, the man is for peace. In the same vein and breadth, the leadership of the NPP, both at the party architecture and in parliament and government, must come to terms that they lost the election.
Yeah.
They shouldn't do self-denial. Kwame, they lost it big. They have to go back to the drawing board and begin to query what brought about that decisive victory for the NDC and emphatic defeat against them. Using the parliament as a conduit, Kwame, to sabotage the incoming government will cast a bad slur against them in 2028. And I want them to keep doing that. If in January, and per constitutional stipulation, the vice president-elect can go to the parliament to deliver the budget, no Ghanaian should be worried. If we take the constitution of Ghana, it gives a rooms. Because the vice president is the head of economic management team. So if the MPP fails to do the needful, and they want to create a constitutional lacuna, which is what they are intending to do, Ghanaian workers, the labor force should be quiet. As soon as His Excellency Mahama is sworn in, we in the NDC are going to prepare a new initial budget, supplementary one, or an interim budget. Then the Vice President, Professor Nana Jenopoko Ajeman, will then head to Parliament to deliver. Look, we never going to create any vacuum for them to take glory in it. And in any case, you were intending to win power to govern. The citizenry said that no, this time around, go sit home, go and be on the fence, and allow the umbrella people to come and govern. If you really mean well for Ghanaians, you will never do that. So the Council of Elders in MPP, let me use Class FM morning show to appeal to the conscience of the Council of Elders.
Right.
I'm appealing to their conscience. Look, they may try to do politics to sabotage the NDC incoming government, but they are digging their own defeat hole in 2028. Because look at the labor force, about 2-point-something million in Ghana, 3-point-something million working in Ghana who earn their salary through the government paycheck.
Yeah.
If we go out there to tell them this story, and of course we are going to do it, it will create a bad public image for you whilst you are in opposition. Because in 92, in 2000, 2016, 17, the NDC never went this way. We created a fertile ground for them to take over. Why must the MPP assume that if it is not them, it should not be anybody? I beg to differ with them. A time has come for them to come to self-realization that they lost and lost big. Their ability to accept that gargantuan defeats, regroup, reorganize, and re-strategize will give them respectability in the eyes of Ghanaians. But if they continue, Kwame, to go the way they are going, Ghanaians will see the NPP as a loose cannon, noise-making political party. I repeat, if the NPP continue on the trajectory, on the path they are trending, Ghanaians will see them as a loose cannon, noise-making political party, and they will see them as a political party that do not have the interests of Ghanaians at heart. In any case, all of those MPs and outgoing ministers, you are going with your ex-gratia.
Yeah.
Why must a Ghanaian worker, nurse, medical doctor, teacher, banker suffer because you lost an election? So the Ghanaian labor force, I'm appealing to you. These are the people who wanted your mandate for the third time, but they couldn't break the 8, and now the 8 has run away. So Kwame, I mean, right. I am happy as a politician and as an economist. I'm not happy about the lacuna, the vacuum it is creating.
Right.
But that notwithstanding, a contingency measure will be put in place for the incoming vice president to work to Parliament after 8 January to present an interim budget that will cater for the first 3 months in 2025, and the government is a going concern.
Can government workers trust the John Mahama led administration to do that in January?
Yeah.
Can they be rest assured that they will receive their salaries in January?
I'm very close to the vice president elect, and she's a woman of substance and he acts with conscience.
Right.
Kwame, the difference between the NDC and MPP is that the NDC is a mass grassroots mobilization political party. We think about the downtrodden, the less privileged. We think about the masses. That is why our ideology, social democracy, is pillared on comradeship, social justice, and equity, and all those kind of pillars that think about the masses. Look, and don't forget that the NDC is a unionist political party. I repeat, maybe some people may not be aware. The NDC as a social democratic party tries on unionism, labor front. Yeah. So when you go to UK, our brothers are the Labour Party. US the Democrat. We always value civil society unionist group. So we're never going to sit down and see TUC members going home without pay. No. So the NDC will ensure that no vacuum shall be created. But we are using this medium to appeal to Ghanaian workers that the angle the MPP is told is a dangerous path, and that the Ghanaian worker should arm themselves to vote against them in 2028. Because imagine if they had won, would they have taken this trajectory? So Kwame, trust the NDC incoming government to deliver that. After 7 January, when we take over the mantle, there's going to be an interim budget, which will be led by either the finance minister designate then or the vice president at that time to deliver. And we are going to make sure no vacuum will be created. Let me end by saying that late Rawlings said that laws were made for men. Men were not made for laws. So the laws of the country were made to serve the interests of the people. The Constitution of Ghana, whose interest does it serve? Ghanaians. So if there is any act of parliament, any public finance act that says that without a budget you cannot act, we in the NDC will act with conscience and place the Ghanaian at the top of our agenda. So 2025 first 3 months, Ghanaians should be rest assured. The incoming NDC government will create no vacuum.
Okay.
The vacuum the MPP intend to create with the intention to score political points, there's going to be a mispoint for them. Because we're going to make sure that we are placing the ordinary Ghanaian worker at the forefront of our agenda.
Right. So let's talk about, so we know that in fact for the last 8 years the economy has not been good.
Right.
Economy has not been good, and we get into Christmas. From tomorrow is a Christmas day to the end of the year. How should we manage our finances to make sure that we don't go broke from January?
So you see, Kwame, the truth ought to be spelled out that if you take the MPP and you take the NDC on ideological underpinning, the MPP is more pro-business political party. That is the ideological underpinning. The NDC, we are social democratic party. We believe in social welfare capitalism. The MPP believes in property owning democracy, more tilted towards capitalism. We in the NDC, we believe in social market economy. We believe in equity. We believe in justice. We believe in comradeship. So these are the underpinning factors, the differentiator of the ideology. So whilst we believe in social welfare capitalism, the NPP believe in property owning democracy. What does this stand for? They believe in the well-being of the individual. So the NPP is more individualism. We are more socially inclined.
Right.
So as an individually led political party of the NPP, they always want to see the individual thriving. So mostly you may see the NPP empowering few of their cliques. But when you look at the NDC, we look at the social good. We look at the masses. Now, the success of the individual is a byproduct of the government policies. Let me repeat. Let me take you to Russia. Russia practices the oligarchy, meaning that the Russian government anytime put in place measures to build strategic individuals. You call the oligarchs. So the Abramovich owning the Chelsea and several of them. If you go to UK, US, Europe, Asia, most of the giant business tycoons come from Russia. Why? There's a deliberate policy of the Russian government to build individuals. So if the individual finances are in the affirmative or in the positive, it has a rippling final effect on the macro level. The Russian government has a policy called democratizing wealth. China too has the same policy. China policy is called consumetrics.
Okay.
Consumetrics. Russian own is that when a government democratizes wealth and opportunity, it has an overbearing positive impact on the government finances, because government does not pay tax. Taxes are paid by individual firms and households to the government. So the government is a collector of taxes. So when the individual well-being, Kwame, is well intentioned and well planned, well programmed, the government eventually benefits. Any country that you see private firms, private individual doing well, the government does do well too. I repeat, any country where you see individuals, firms, household, their livelihood have been empowered.
Last night
you see the government doing well. On the flip side, any economy where you see the citizenry complaining, murmuring, talking negative against the government business is purely perceptive. What people perceive of the government to be, it has a cascading effect on even the taxes and the revenue the government gets. For example, when you look at taxation, who serves as the major chunk of government source of revenue, if the citizenry are convinced of their taxes being put to work, they will pay it joyfully.
Okay.
I repeat, when the citizenry come to the realization that any tax I pay has an impact on my social good, people will work to the taxman or taxwoman and declare how much they need to pay. On the flip side, on the vice versa, if the people come to the conclusion and the conviction that my taxes are not at work, they will either evade or avoid taxes. Tax evasion can land them in jail, but tax avoidance is normal. When you evade tax, it's a criminal offense. But when you avoid tax through the right procedure of the law, you're on the protection of the law. Now, in this country called Ghana, you gave a very good proposition that the state of the economy is dire. And let no financial analyst, outgoing finance minister, government apparatchik throw that into the eyes of the people. Kwame, I will list 4 key things.
Okay.
That shows the state of a nation's finances and its impact on the individual. Because the aggregate of how individual, household, and firm perform will be the summary of the macro. So when the individual do well,
okay,
the government does well.
Right.
On the flip side, when the individual, household, and firm don't do well, government won't do well. So one is liquidity. Liquidity at the personal level is about the ease with which people have cash on them.
Okay.
So when you walk through the principal street of Ghana, all the 16 regions, what complaint do you hear? Yesterday I was watching other sister station and people were conducting interview on the liquidity in the system. Is there money in the system? Malata market, Makola, and the complaint were clearly cut across. there is no money in the system.
Yeah.
So on grounds of liquidity, whether at the personal level, at the firm level, at the household level, and rippling effect on the macro level is on the negative. 2 is credibility. Credibility is the trust people have for the government. So the government of Ghana, when it comes to credibility, is the government credible before people? 3rd one is investor confidence. And by investor confidence, we're looking at both domestic and external investors. Do investors have confidence in the outgoing government? The answer is a big no. The last one is the ease of debt settlement.
Okay.
Ease of debt settlement. Everybody owes, apart from God.
That's true.
Everybody. Kwame, me seated in front of you as a businessman, as an economist, I owe people. People owe me.
Right.
So the ease of debt settlement is a tool to measure the state of an economy or your personal financial status.
That's
so
true.
if you're an individual, let me take my good friend Alhaji Seydou Agongo, who owned this CMG group. Alhaji Seydou Agongo as a businessman owes people to owe Alhaji.
Yeah.
So that leads to what you call the balance sheet, asset and liability. Now, if the current and non-current asset of Alhaji Seydou Agongo, when put together, can offset his current and non-current liability, then we can say that Alhaji is doing well. But when you put the current and non-current asset of Alhaji together, and they cannot offset his current and non-current liability, we say Alhaji is in trouble. Come to Ghana. The government we have today is so much indebted that the bond people bought, pensioners fund, are in trouble. When you put these 4 fact indicators together, liquidity, credibility, investor confidence, ease of debt settlement together, it creates a reality that the personal level of the people are in trouble. Now, going into 2025, people are looking forward to see a new government. Now, that new government may also have a different perspective to governance compared to the outgoing government.
Yeah.
Don't forget that in run-up to the election, the outgoing government ran the campaign on grounds of bold solution. That was the agenda. Bold solution.
Yeah.
We in the NDC said, no, we don't want bold solution. We want to reset the country. And resetting the country, the parameters were on jobs, prosperity, accountability. So to reset the country, the individual, their personal finances, how is it like? Those who bought bonds domestically, pensioners, banks that were collapsed, leading to job losses. People don't have that well-being. The standard of living of the people is now poor, but cost of living is higher. How do we as an incoming government create a balance? Because many people were laid off. Banking sector clean up. Got almost about 200,000.
Can you wrap up for me so we end the conversation on this one?
Right. So when we are looking at the future, I think that the immediate program, project and programs and policies of the incoming government will give a breather. People can have a respite to say that, oh, the outgoing government treated us badly. This incoming government, program, project and policies will give an allowance for me to get job. And look, Kwame, you can't give what you don't have.
Yeah.
You can't give what you don't have. So your balance sheet, whether to reflect the nets, if impact, whether to be negative or positive, depends on what you call your purchasing power parity, PPP. So when you put your hand in your pocket, where does it land? When you put your hand in your pocket and it lands on something, then we can say that you have a positive purchasing power parity. But when your pocket goes into nothing, into a ditch, obviously once your purchasing power parity is on the negative, then you are heading for trouble. And the aggregate of individual purchasing power parity will have a rippling effect on how the government overall purchasing power parity performs.
Right. So just a quick one.